Welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're joining us today because we're about to break down a seriously powerful, science-backed protocol. The goal? Helping you take your brain back from digital burnout. Look, if you've been feeling mentally sluggish, totally unmotivated, or just kind of constantly distracted, well, you're in the right place. We're going to map out exactly what's happening inside your head and, more importantly, how you can actually fix it. So, let's jump right in. All right, let's start with a really tough question. Despite your big goals, your wildest dreams, and that massive, never-ending to-do list you know you should be tackling, why is it so impossible to focus on a single task for more than 10 minutes? Seriously, think about your own day for a second. Why is it just so incredibly hard to sit down and do the actual work? Okay, if you take nothing else away from today, let it be this. The source material offers this huge sigh of relief. You aren't lazy, you aren't a failure, you are biologically compromised. Honestly, we're living in this wild, cheap dopamine economy where your attention is literally being farmed for profit. It's not a lack of moral character on your part, it's a biological hijacking. So here's our roadmap for today's masterclass. We're going to cover 1. The silent crisis, 2. The science of dopamine, 3. The hidden physical damage, 4. The 24-hour detox protocol, and finally, 5. Rewiring for mastery. Let's hit part 1. The silent crisis, farmed for attention. We need to look at what the greatest mental health crisis in history actually looks like in your everyday life. We're talking about staring at a glowing rectangle for 6 hours a day. Or, let's be real, probably more. You're waking up totally exhausted even after sleeping perfectly fine. You get this weird, low-level hum of anxiety the exact second things get quiet or boring. And you're just utterly unable to focus. Tragically, this is the normal baseline for millions of us right now.
Moving right along to Section 2, the science of dopamine, your biological hardware.
Look, to fix this focus problem, we absolutely have to ditch the fluffy self-help advice and dive straight into the hard science. It all basically revolves around homeostasis. This is your brain's natural, built-in mechanism to keep everything perfectly balanced and protected from extreme highs and lows. You see, dopamine isn't just a pleasure chemical, it's a motivation chemical. It evolved to make us hunt, build, and survive. But at the end of the day, your brain craves balance above everything else. Think of it like a thermostat in your house. It's the perfect analogy. When you flood your brain with massive artificial spikes of dopamine, from endlessly scrolling TikTok, watching adult content, or binging highly processed sugar, that's exactly like cranking the heater all the way up. Because of homeostasis, your brain totally panics. It flips on the lethargy air conditioner to cool things down and balance out that heat. It literally shuts down your dopamine receptors. That is exactly why you feel so incredibly empty and drained after a binge. You've cranked your baseline so incredibly high that just doing normal stuff like reading a book or having a regular conversation feels like physical pain. All right, let's get into Section 3. The hidden physical damage, the hardware glitch. So this isn't just a fleeting chemical mood swing. This builds into actual physical damage inside your head. Chronic daily overstimulation actually causes a specific protein called delta phosphate to build up. And here's the crazy part. It doesn't just wash out of your system. It accumulates. It literally acts as a physical on switch for addiction right inside your brain. We aren't just talking about a bad habit anymore. We're talking about structural changes. The really crucial point here is what that protein buildup does. It physically weakens the wiring between two totally different centers of your brain. On one side, you've got the prefrontal cortex. That's the captain of the ship, the part making logical decisions and long-term plans. On the flip side is the limbic system, which is the primitive, animalistic part that just screams for instant gratification. Delta phosphate basically acts like a pair of scissors, just snipping away at the communication wires between those two zones. And wow, doesn't that just explain human behavior today? It's exactly why you can logically know, hey, I need to close this app and do my work, but your thumbs physically will not stop swiping. Your willpower hasn't failed you, it's literally been physically eroded. You get trapped in survival brain mode, totally blocked from operating in thriving brain mode. Which brings us to Section 4, the 24-hour detox protocol, the neural purge. A quick 10-minute break from your phone is just not going to cut it for survival brain.
To reverse the damage, we need to go into monk mode. We're talking 24 solid hours of sensory deprivation following 3 non-negotiable rules. Rule 1, screen blackout. No phones, laptops, or TVs. That artificial blue light completely suppresses melatonin and traps your brain in a stressed-out hunting mode. Rule 2, zero input. No music, no audiobooks, and yeah, not even this explainer. For the first time in maybe years, you're going to sit in silence and actually listen to your own thoughts. Rule 3, metabolic reset. No caffeine, no sugar, no processed junk. We are stopping all artificial chemical spikes, period.
So during this purge, some things are strictly off limits. Phones, TV, junk food, all banned. But don't worry, you aren't just sitting in a dark, empty room staring at the paint peeling. You're swapping those vices for slow, analog activities. Drinking water, meditating, writing in a journal with an actual physical pen and paper, remember doing that, and taking long walks out in nature. You're intentionally adding friction to force your brain to just slow down and heal.
Now, I gotta warn you about hour 12. By the 12th hour of this protocol, your brain is going to be screaming at you. You're going to feel this intense, borderline physical itch to just check your notifications or pop open a browser tab. That itch, that's your brain desperately begging for its cheap dopamine fix. But listen close. Pushing through that exact moment is the entire magic of the protocol. When you deny that urge, your receptors finally start to upregulate. They literally start becoming sensitive to normal, everyday joys all over again.
All right, final stretch. Section 5, Rewiring for Long-Term Mastery, Environment Design. Because here's the truth. A 24-hour detox is just a hard reset. If you wake up on day 2 and go right back to your old habits, you've completely wasted your time. To actually cure digital burnout for good, we have to leverage friction theory. It's all about strategically setting up your environment to make certain actions way harder and others way easier. If your willpower is shot, the smartest thing you can do is stop relying on it. You manipulate your surroundings instead. In the real world, this means intentionally making your bad habits incredibly frustrating to do. Don't just promise yourself you won't open Instagram, literally delete the app from your phone. When it's time to work, put your phone in a totally different room. Make failing annoying. On the flip side, totally remove the friction for your good habits so they are a breeze. You want to work out? Lay your gym clothes right next to your bed so you literally trip over them the second you wake up.
Ultimately, everything comes down to where you get your dopamine. We all have to relearn delayed gratification. Out there in the digital world, the reward is just handed to you for free with one tiny swipe. But free rewards completely destroy your drive to put in actual effort. To really thrive, we have to go back to nature's golden rule. Effort first, reward second. You gotta earn that dopamine. You put in the sweat, the work, and then, and only then, you get that sweet feeling of satisfaction.
As we wrap this up, you're staring down the ultimate choice. Look, you only get one brain and you only get one life. And right now, you are standing at a major crossroads, deciding who actually gets to profit from your attention. Are you going to spend your precious time acting like a human battery, powering some tech giant's algorithm? Or are you going to harness your focus and actually build your own legacy?
To really lock in this mindset shift, the source material actually challenged its readers to physically write out the word commander to prove they're taking back control. Whether you write it down or just make a silent promise to yourself right now, the challenge is very real. Hey, if you made it to the end of this explainer, you obviously still have an attention span, which means you're already miles ahead of 99% of the population. But don't just consume this and do nothing. Execute it. Take that 24-hour plunge. Reclaim your focus. So I'll leave you with this. Will you keep letting a glowing piece of glass dictate your future? Or are you ready to become the absolute commander of your own mind?